Hi guys, it's Chris from Once Upon a Turnbuckle podcast. Thank you again for joining me for another edition of Go Figure. As you saw at the start of the show, it's already been quite an exciting week in terms of adding to the collection with the acquisition of the Fabulous Freebirds, one of my favourite tag teams back in the day, and attire-wise, two of my favourite looking figures in the line. You just can't beat the tights that they had on, and I love that era of tag team wrestling where everyone wore these really brightly coloured outfits, and they fit together so well. So thanks personally to Jordan Davidson of Top Rope Collectibles. He hooked me up with those ones right at the beginning of the week. So thank you, Jordan, for those again. They're in great condition, as I'd expect, from someone like yourself, and a remarkable addition to the collection. I don't know if you can see it too well there, but they're there in between Sid and Ron Simmons, just behind PM News, just behind the front row of the collection. So it's a great start to the week to have the Fabulous Freebirds, and I've been saving up some packages this week that I've been dying to get into. I know what's in them, but I've been wanting to sort of band them together because I knew they were coming in quick succession. I wanted to band them together to show you all of them this week. We have got a couple of really exciting additions to the Galoob collection again, and we have got a couple of new ones of a new collection that I've decided on a little bit of a whim to start up. It comes from, if you've seen the latest one of the more recent editions of the podcast, you'll see my conversation in the Figured Out episode with Andrew Lascelles. I reference a particular line that was, aside from the Galoobs, was one of my favourites when I was growing up, and I've decided I'm gonna put together a little collection of that as well. So we've got a couple of first additions to that one to show you as well. So without further ado, let's get over and see what we got. Okay, so we're going to start off with this bad boy. These packages have been in my house probably most of the week. I've been trying to hold back until I have them all to be able to do this video. I have a feeling, and I'm not sure which one's in each package. I've actually lost track. This is the one I think it is. I'm going to fast forward from here so that you don't have to see me struggle with the packaging. Could have been a nicer box. I love these biscuits. Anyway, I digress. So in here, I'm hoping two figures. It's two that I ordered at the same time, and I'm going to look really silly now because it isn't them. But bearing in mind, one of them I already have, but because of the other one that came with the two on the listing, that I needed to go for it. Yeah, that's a lot that I was expecting. So get rid of that. So done. Here they are. You can probably see through the packet, through the bubble wrap, who I'm talking about. And we know that we've already got the most common version of this one in the collection already. So this was an eBay purchase. So a number of mine are coming from eBay, but I have most of them so far have come through the contacts that I've made through the WCW Galoob Geeks Facebook group, or another wrestling figure collecting group. I can't remember the exact title of them, but this is one of the eBay purchases, and you'll see immediately one of the reasons why I had to go for this guy. Green tights, Lex Luger. I purposefully searched listings for these because I wanted to see how common they were. I was quite surprised actually to see a few listings on it at the same time, because when I started looking at the Galoobs and trying to collect them, I couldn't see this guy. So this one is different. We've obviously, in with the purchase as well, we have got a new Blue Tights Lex, which is one of the most common figures. We've already got one. I've actually already got another spare that I'm currently got listed to flip. So I will look at this one compared to the one I got in my collection and see if it's any better. There is some wear to the knee pads, which I don't think my other one has got, and obviously the usual mark of doom on the back side there. Apart from that, it's looking really good. The face, like I said, on my personal one from my childhood, the nose was the one that went. little bit wear on the wrist tape as well. I'll take a look and see if this is better condition as it is to the one I've got in the collection, then that will go in as a replacement already, and then I'll have another spare to sell. But this was the reason why I went for this particular batch. They were really good price together. I'm not going to divulge prices on here because I think I'm going to open myself up to probably a bit of criticism from some people who are hardened collectors, and they think that actually some prices are set too high at the moment. I've got my own judgment, which, yeah, fair enough, it might be as good as some others who know more about these things. But I thought collectively, considering this was the one that I wanted, and the fact that I may actually have a better condition blue tights with it as a bonus, I was happy with what I paid for just for this one, really. Decent paint job. The only marks are the usual spot that you would expect to see, sadly, on these things. But the rest of it, not really any marks on the front there, or to the wrist tape, or to the face. Really, really happy with that. Bit of a mark there on the boots. Obviously, these things have been played with. Over 35 years old, nearly, these figures. You've got to remember that. So there we go. So another tick off the Series 2, because that's what we're looking at now, because Series 1, for as far as I am concerned, is complete in my collection. It's now Series 2 that I'm looking for. So another one, green tights Lex, and obviously the yellow tape around as well. That's the other difference there, but it's the green tights, green and yellow tights Lex. Brilliant, brilliant. Really happy with that one. Now the others, I may go a little bit out of sync here, because there is, within this, there's a start of another collection that I've decided I'm going to embark on. Alongside the Galoob one, and this is why I'm not sure what is in these packages. So this may kind of knock me out of sync in terms of the Galoob one, but it could be, because I've got another Galoob one to share that I know within these packages, which is really quite special. It's again another one that I knew I needed to get. I thought it was going to take me longer to get. Who have we got in here? So here we go. So this is the start of my other collection. If you're familiar with my show, you might have seen the most recent episode where I talked with a friend about our favourite action figures, our action figure lines. One that I mentioned that I absolutely loved growing up was the Jakks Bone Crushing Action line, which started coming out, I think, 97, if I remember rightly. And this is one I never saw in the shops. I always wanted, never saw anywhere. The Wild Man, Mark Merrow. Stunning figure. And what you probably find with these ones, actually, depending how much they're played with, there might not be as much wear as what we see with the Galoobs. There's no really point on these ones that tend to get more wear than others, but it tends to be the limbs, the actions on this, because these ones move. The articulation slackens a little bit. This one is a bit wobbly, but I love this figure. I love the Wild Man Mark Merrow era, before he became Marvelous Mark Merrow with the Boxley gimmick. I absolutely love this one. So there we go. So yeah, my Jakks Bone Crushing Action BCA line off to a roaring start, pardon the pun, with Wild Man Mark Merrow. Great condition, so pleased with that. It'll be a testament to how in good condition it is, to how well he stands up, because that's the only thing with that line, is because the limbs are rubber, not as solid as the Galoob rubber. You have to position them well to get them to stand up. I'm not going to spend too much time on here trying to do that, so he's just going to sit there for a minute. He's going to sit down. Right, 50-50 shot here. So one, I've got another Jakks BCA acquisition, which is in one of these packages, or it could be my other Galoob one. Which one's it going to be? How about a feel of it? I'm not sure. I can see this is the one I've really been looking forward to, because this is visually one of my favourite Galoobs. Check it out. Here comes a little pack, right? This is another eBay acquisition. They've thrown in a WCW belt. They package it really well. There we go. entrance gear Lex Luger. I'm not sure back in the day how much I would have enjoyed playing with this one. I think the play pose on it is probably, I favour that more than the classic Lex Luger pose with the double sort of headlock pose. I think that's a really cool action pose, a lot like Michael P.S. Hayes. Great for a clothesline, neck breaker, elbow, that kind of thing. But it's the gear on here. Obviously, I've heard a few guys, in particular my buddy Andrew Lascelles, who reviews action figures for his TikTok channel. He often says about the LJNs where they have the entrance gear or the shirts and that. It just wouldn't have been like that. I wouldn't have wanted to play with those the same back in the day because obviously the wrestlers don't wear those. It's a beautiful figure. I love this one and I'm so glad I've got this one. A little bit of wear, as you'd expect. There is a bit. Out of all the ones that I've seen listed, this one was actually seemed to be in better condition. There is a bit wear, normal go to the end of the fingers, paint started coming off. The difference with this one is because of the black of the outfit. I think this is actually painted on black rubber, so when it starts to wear you get black that comes through, as you can see on the face there as well. Now other listings I've seen, they've had the nose missing, they've had more wear on the hands. That's the only thing. I think I'm not sure if I think I'm right in saying that this was basically black rubber that they painted the skin tones and the boots and everything else on because it was just probably easier. I know some of the LJNs did that as well, but as I'm holding it in my hands, it's a beautiful figure. I absolutely love the look of this one. I've seen a picture very recently from someone who was comparing the Galoob's outfits with their actual sort of reference photos and that. So I have seen a picture of Lex wearing this. I never saw it before now. I never saw him in that. And originally, complete version would come with the chain. He had a chain with him, which I didn't quite understand because I don't remember that being part of his gimmick, but I might be wrong. But there we go. So that 3 Lex Lugers in one haul this week. Like I say, with the green tights and the other blue tights and then the entrance. So we've got a full collection now of Lex Lugers all in one go. So final piece. This will be another addition to my new Jakks BCA collection. This one was an easy acquisition. It was an easy choice because this was one of my favourites that I had as a kid. But you find him around quite a lot, not very much. So this was a steal for me. He needed to be in my collection, and it doesn't cost very much either. Al Snow. Again, love this era of Al Snow because he's not got head with him. Came with a little mannequin head, but he's got to help me, as he used to have written on his head. Although it's a bit cartoony, it's a great likeness. I love this era when he came back to the WWF in 97, or was it 98? 98, I think it was. And he was feuding with the likes of Jerry Lawler and Too Much as they were then trying to get his with his contract with WWF. This was prior to the Job Squad days when he then replaced it. He had the Job Squad tank top over his top, so you only saw the black shorts. You didn't see the purple part of the singlet. But yeah, Al Snow had to be in there. Again, does he stand up? Let's have a go. It's the only problem. I never used to display my figures, obviously, back in the day anyway, so I never really had this problem. But yeah, he does pretty good. So there we go. The haul for this week. On top of the fabulous Freebirds that we saw at the beginning of the show, Al Snow and the Wild Man Mark Mero to kickstart the Jakks BCA line, and then a triple header of the total package. So how about that? I told you, quite an exciting week really, putting it together. There was a couple of, particularly the green tights Lex, I wasn't expecting to be able to get that. I thought that'd be a bit trickier. But as I said, I came across when I was searching for them, there were a few that were listed around that same time, differing degrees of quality. But because that one came with another blue tights Lex, which I think I'm yet to compare them, but I think it probably is a little bit better condition than the one I've got, so he'll go straight to the collection. And I've got another one that I can probably try and flip there to get a couple of pounds towards the fund as well. But green tights Lex and the entrance gear Lex. beautiful figure. I absolutely love that. That entrance, the entrance gear one. Again, like I said, I don't know how well I would have played with that back in the day, but a beautiful display piece that will look quality up there. So, just to summarise where we are with the Galoob collection, as we saw last week with the acquisition of Butch Reed, as far as I'm aware, Series 1 is complete. Butch Reed up to last week was the only one I needed. So Series 1 compartment, please correct me if I'm wrong, if I've missed anything, but as far as I can tell from everywhere that I've researched, that was the remaining part. So we're looking at Series 2. Obviously, we've been able to tick off 2 more of the Lex Lugers. We've got all versions of Lex Luger now across the line, which I'm really happy with. We are getting into territory now where we are looking at the really tricky or expensive pieces. I think Elegante is probably the only one left that is fairly easy to find, depending on my fussiness with quality. It might be quite affordable as well, so he might be the one that I'm looking at getting next. I've got my eye on a couple in particular. I'll see if I can pull the trigger on those in the next couple of weeks. But then we are looking at Blue Tights Barry Windham and Blue Tights Brian Pillman. So I separated Series 2 out into what I found the main line, the attainable ones, and then the big ticket items. But as I've come to find out, the Blue Tight Pillman and Windham are probably trickier to get. So that could pose a bit of a problem. I found out this week from another fan that the Blue Tight Barry Windham is probably one of the hardest ones to get. So I don't know. We're sort of in that territory already where the brakes might start to come on. I'm not too sure how quickly I'm going to be able to complete the collection from here on in, but it'll be fun trying to see what I can find. But we're looking at those 2. We're looking at Elegante probably next. Blue Tights Barry Windham and Brian Pillman. We'll see if and when I'm able to track those down and afford them. And then the big ticket items, Entrance Gear Lex was on there because I thought he would have been harder to find and more expensive than what I was actually able to get him for. But we've got Entrance Gear Sting, we've got Big Josh, and we've got Dustin Rhodes. This is where I might start to pose a little bit of a problem. So in order to keep myself going, that's why I've decided to kind of launch into the Jakks BCA line. That's not going to be a completist project. I'm not one that needs every single piece, and that is quite an expansive line. The great thing with the Galoob line is that there's only so many to get, and the when you get to the BCA, the Jakks line, it just kind of exploded. So I'm targeting the pieces that I personally want. So as we've seen today already, one of those is the Wildman Mark Merrow, which I never saw as a kid in any of the shops. Didn't even know until later years there even was one. So it's great to have him. Al Snow is just a great character figure. I used to love playing with mine when I had him back in the day. But there is a cornerstone piece. There is a grail piece for the Jakks collection, which has really, it was the reason, a bit like PN News was with the Galoob line. It's this one is one that I've always wanted, never thought I would get. I've been able to find one. He's on his way. So the next episode I will dedicate probably most of to just kind of telling more about my history with the Jakks BCA line, why it means so much to me, why I've decided to collect it. And it will be based around this cornerstone piece, which I say is one of my grail pieces if I had one. If I had a list of grail figures I wanted, this was on there. So I'm really excited to get that and share that with you when he arrives. But we've made a good start. You know, the couple that we've got. The good thing with the Jakks BCAs, they don't seem to be all that either hard to find, most of them, but quite affordable at the same time. So they'll be quite good to kind of slot in cost effectively, you know, cheaply as much as I can in between, you know, searching for the Galoobs. So there we go. So it's going strong. I'm really having fun with this. I hope you're enjoying joining me on this journey. Any feedback, any comments, likes, subscribes, follows, everything, always welcome. Please reach out to me if you're enjoying these. Please comment down below in the comments. You can also find me on my socials. on Instagram at Once Upon a Turnbuckle. You can also find me on Facebook as well, Once Upon a Turnbuckle. And I'd love to hear from anyone out there who's enjoying the show. Love to hear and see other people's collections as well. So until next week, keep collecting. I'll see you then.
If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to like, share and hit the subscribe button. Also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Once Upon a Turnbuckle to keep updated about all future shows.